What's up YouTube? Mr. Shua here. Today we have a gear upgrade and we're also going to talk about the 2600 Plus. Now this I have been waiting for about a month and a half and I'm pretty excited it's here. So let's get into it, shall we? This is the Club Atari hat. Nice green brim. Awesome looking embroidery of the Fuji logo. And now, for the moment of truth, the upgrade. Wow, now I must say, that is an improvement over the last hat that I had on. What do you think? Now, at the time of this recording, this hat is currently out of stock. There's also a red Fuji Atari hat from Club Atari that is also out of stock. Now, with that being said, Atari tends to put things in and out of stock. So if you see either of these two hats, this or the red Fuji logo, I highly recommend you pick one of these up quick, because they sold out really fast. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about this. I can't be the only one that when this happens, isn't that frustrating? Now, we do have a solution, possibly, that might work to help alleviate the situation. Now, for the most part, most Atari games work on the 2600 Plus, whether it be a 2600 or 7800 cartridge. But there are games that don't work. Now I know for a fact Demon Attack is on the list of compatible cartridges. Well, let's get into something. Now, Demon Attack is a third-party Atari game by iMagic. And the connector is open to the elements, easy to clean. As long as you've got something like the 1-Up card. Now, the 1-Up card is great because you take the fluid from this bottle, you apply just a little bit across this strip here, and then you stick it in your cartridge, give it a little buff. Both sides, top and bottom. Now, when you're done, you flip the card over to the dry side and you give it a little buff. And that typically alleviates your problem, because it's a good chance the connector is probably dirty. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Mr. Shua, how do I get inside of a first-party Atari game? Because they all have this that blocks the connector. Well, I use this stick, typically. So, you stick it in the hole. You know, sometimes you have to fish around a little bit. But eventually, you get the bypass. And you have access to the cartridge, which gives you the ability to take your wet side of your 1-Up card, stick it in, give it a little buff on one side. You might want to stick your finger in to keep the trigger down. And then switch over to the other side, give it a clean, and then flip back over to your dry side, give it a nice little buff, and a nice little buff, and you can get in there. Easy peasy. Now, here we go. Is it going to load? Haha, success! Let's get into a little bit of this, shall we? Wow, wasn't that something? The 1-up card worked. That was a great time. I'm happy it did. Now, there's also something I want to mention. Well, more or less say thank you to another YouTuber named Mock Duck Plays Games, because he made a video prior to me getting my 2600 plus. And if he didn't, I would have thrown a very important piece of kit in that box away. And that be this dust cover. I mean, I am so happy that you made that video, because I would have thrown this out. Wow, that is a great fit there. Thanks, Mock Duck. I genuinely appreciate you for that video. I definitely would have thrown that away. I'm glad I didn't. I'm set up in a garage. It gets dusty in here. I have to cover everything with a drop cloth, or else dust accumulates like crazy. So, thank you. Now, to everyone who's seen my video so far, thank you. And everyone who's subscribed, I appreciate you genuinely. I have to give a special shout out to my buddy Rich Haywood over at Bacon Ice Cream Productions, because he put my page on blast, and I really appreciate that because it's generated quite a bit of traffic. So thank you. If you haven't checked out his page, I highly recommend you do so. He's very informative and gives some great reviews on a lot of games. With that being said, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button and subscribe. I plan on doing giveaways when I hit the milestones, so if you would, share it with your friends. Thank you. Mr. Shua out. And have you played Atari today? Because I have. You should too.